So welcome back to APA's sPlainJane Reality for part 2 of how we roll, and I'm trying to do this as well as I can. I apologize if it's not great, but maybe it'll get there one day. Part 2 of how we roll. The plot thickens. I explain political correctness. It may not be surprising that I had a rocky relationship with Dad, leaving home angry, thinking I would not return. I saw him as a lukewarm agnostic who neither affirmed nor denied God. He was receptive to the values of religion, but distrustful of organized religion. But always he was a very kind and considerate person who valued people and was considerate of their feelings. His choice of a career in social work, a rarity for men at the time, early 50s, reflected an abiding interest in the well-being of others. He found work at a large urban hospital and would eventually advance to the position of Chief Assistant Administrator to the Director of the hospital. Irv Goldberg, God bless his memory, a Jewish man of great humanity and abilities. This fact was an influence on my own evolution and faith journey, as many facets of the Jewish faith seemed to percolate into our home due to Dad's relationship with him. I was familiar with many of the holidays, so forth. None of these things impinged upon my brain at the time, but I read many of Dad's college textbooks on psychology and the reigning thought about human development in the early 1950s. In the 1950s, as affluence inundated America with material abundance, there was still a deep longing for spiritual meaning. This void was partially filled by many books that tried to put humans into some sort of cosmic context. Viktor Frankl and his books on man's search for meaning, logotherapy being one, a result of his experiences as a survivor of the death camps of the Nazis. Another one was Erich Fromm's book, The Art of Loving, about trying to find a marriage relationship in the commercially oriented capitalism of the day. In other words, having a marketing orientation instead of a spiritual one. And other books which look to humanism as the new mantra, and all tried to couch religious longings into secular packaging. Idealizing science as the ultimate descriptor of human behavior was in the ascendancy during the 1950s. Existentialism was the rage. God was announced to be dead, or anyhow not that concerned with humans. We wanted the soul and values of religion, but by dressing up the eternal verities in scientific and psychological reasons. Those who followed conventional religion were mocked for being simple and gullible. Thus began the split between those who regarded themselves as believers and those who rejected a fundamentalist idea of God as a grandfatherly biblical patriarch. This was the beginning of political correctness. Those who thought they were too intelligent to believe in God and knew better than any simple person of simple faith set themselves up as elite experts in how humans rolled. They brought in programs in schools to educate people in proper scientific thinking. Evolution was a given, but the sublime force which may drive creatures to adapt to ever-changing conditions and strive to survive and birth their young was left out of the evolution equation. Always, eugenics was in the deep background, the thought that man was perfectible, or that we could improve the race by applying scientific principles. Like my father, who modeled human kindness for me, I seek meaning. I seek a rational explanation and also a metaphysical explanation for how humans roll, how we use language and tools to adapt the world to us, and how tools and language affect our thinking and behavior. We are a work in progress, but we do not realize how malleable is our emotional valence. Maybe we are more emotional, more volatile, and more prone to believe all the rationalizations we tell ourselves. We have a manifest destiny, and we define an era with a name and an intention, usually in retrospect, when historians try to describe the drivers of a particular era. And every era needs a mantra. What is not stated is that humans need an ideal, a mission, a sense of hope to live. We need purpose, meaning, and a sense we are going somewhere, and there is more to life than simply what our powerful eyesight and senses tell us. It has been called a thirst for the infinite or a longing for God, but all of our history points toward a part of ourselves that seeks to express that feeling. The planet is chock full of physical objects created by man to give form to our deepest sense that we are not alone in a cold universe, but there is a greater entity we belong to, a more divine plane of reality that can lift us out of our small, prosaic proclivities. The fact that we possess consciousness, that we are aware of being alive, does not seem to be enough to satisfy us. End of part 2 of How We Roll. Thanks again for the use of the hall.